Hey kids, welcome back to Smith Motor Works. Today we're going to check out something with two wheels in the form of this little Indian motorcycle beside me. Really, we're going to check out this little Harley Davidson. Okay, Harley Davidson and Indian both put their names on Italian imported motorcycles at one time, but this ain't either one of them. It's actually a Sears. Well, not even. It's actually a Gilera. Get a couple things out of the way up front. Why do I have Harley tank, Indian tank on this? Well, this is the tank off my Harley because I replaced it with a Sport Bob tank. And that Indian tank I just bought off of eBay because I thought it was cool. They both look pretty neat on this bike, and it didn't come with a tank. And the stock one looks like a toaster, so I'm probably going to do something different. This isn't a Duesenberg, like I like to say. This is something pretty common, even though you may not have heard of a Sears motorcycle. I don't really worry about originality with this. It's well used, as we'll see in a minute. But second thing I want to talk about is Sears. All right, some of you know exactly what that is. Maybe some of you don't. Sears is kind of like Amazon and Walmart mixed together. Really, from the last century, they're still around, but they're in the death throes pretty much. But what they did is they had the Sears catalog, and the Sears catalog was like the Amazon website now. Anything you wanted. I mean, really more than what Amazon had. Clothes, tools, kitchen utensils, appliances, parts for your car, whatever you needed, parts of the farm. It was all in this book, and no matter where you were in the country, you could take that book. It would come via mail to you. You didn't have to be close to a store or close to a town or anything. If you had an address, they would get it to you. And man, they had everything. I mean, you could buy a house in knockdown form to where they would bring you all the lumber, everything you needed to build it. Cars. They did home improvements. They sold the insurance. I mean, way more than that even. I mean, they may have sold airplanes for all I know, but I mean, it was everything in that catalog. Plus, they had brick and mortar too, so if you're close enough, you might be able to go and get it, which is the case with this little motorcycle here. You could get it in a catalog, and you could go in the store and get it too. It's actually the second time that Sears got into the motorcycle business. Sears didn't really make anything. They just put their name on it, and they had, kind of like Walmart does with the great value stuff, except Sears had some of their own brands too, like Kenmore, Craftsman, Die Hard, and they're brands people trusted and bought. But when they didn't have something, they just go find it and stick their badge on it. Like the Craftsman stuff they didn't really make, or the Kenmore or whatever. It was somebody else's product, but they put their name on it. But what wasn't KCD, Craftsman, Kenmore, Craftsman, Die Hard, they put Sears on it, or sometimes Allstate, if you've heard of that. They're still around. That was part of Sears at one point. They got into the motorcycle business at the beginning of motorcycles, really, like kind of pre-Model T era. And they were doing the same thing. They were putting their name on a motorcycle, and then it got popular enough that they really had bespoke vehicles that they're putting together, kind of almost a competitor to everybody else. And the motorcycle companies all dried up when Model Ts got so cheap that it didn't make any sense to not have a car when you could pay the same money for a motorcycle and go get a car. Well, fast forward to the 60s, 50s, 60s, Sears is looking for product. They stick their name on bikes from Austria and Italy. In this case, it's Italian machine. Gilera, didn't know a whole lot about them before I got it. Definitely a respected motorcycle company. The bike that the Italians made, I'm sorry, it's not Gilera, it's Gilera. Gilera's bike version of this is way better looking. They kind of dumbed this down for Sears. I don't know why, but the Italian model looks a lot like it, but it's a little sharper. They kind of decontented this a little bit. Maybe it was made to a price or something. I'm not sure. But regardless, I've had this thing for 17 years, I guess. Haven't really done much with it, but stick around to the end because we're going to look in the side cover here, and it's not been off in at least 17 years, probably a lot longer. So you'll be the first to see it with me. So we may have to jump out of the way if something comes crawling out of there. I don't know. So hang tight. We'll check this out. All right, here we go. Let's take our lap around this thing, take it all in, and then we'll get into some details. Okay, as you saw in the title, this is a 1967. I think they made these from like 65 to 69 because Gilera was sold or merged or something, and I think that's probably was the end of the availability of this machine for Sears to resell, but I'm not 100% sure about that. This was another Craigslist purchase, gotta have it, man. Can't pass up a deal like this, whatever it was, and it wasn't a lot of money. Most of my stuff is, if I keep it under a couple $100, I don't get in too much trouble. I figure if you had to break it up and sell it, you can almost come out even with that, or I tell myself that at least. But this is 106cc, so you're not going to outrun Burt Monroe or anything like that on it. In fact, if you're a large person, you probably are not going anywhere. But I think it's a good starter bike, and it'd make a really cool pit bike or just something to goof around with. I mean, it's so light. I mean, it's almost like a bicycle or something. I got it up on this little table here and strapped it down, and it was nothing to kind of hop it up on there, and it's harder to keep it from tipping over than anything, but super basic. I mean, look at these bars on this. I mean, they look like bars on a tricycle or something like that. I mean, I don't think it ever had turn signals. I think it had a mirror or something on it. There's pictures of these online if you look for them. It's a Sears 106SS. Now, there's also bikes sold by Sears that had the Allstate brand on them, and I think those were the Austrian ones, the ones that came from a company called Puch, P-U-C-H. You ever been around any mopeds? They made a bunch of mopeds. Puch moped was I don't know, when mopeds were a thing when I was a kid, that was one you kind of wanted, like Puch Tomos. And I had a Gilera, another Italian make there, and Italian motorcycles are pretty cool. I always wanted a Ducati, and that's probably never going to happen, but hey, this is like 1/100th of a Ducati, I guess, so I'll take it. But I mean, it's the reason I like them is because, and this may just be an Italian thing, is like they style stuff that doesn't need to be styled. Like, it really doesn't matter to make the cylinder head and the barrel, the cylinder barrel for this engine to make it, so curvy and smooth. And, they made the whole, engine shape. I mean, it's like an egg. I mean, it's just slick. I mean, there's no, extra ribs or anything that's in the way. It just, somebody put some thought into, hey, how do we make this? It's going to be up where you can see it. How do we make it look good? I mean, down here on the bottom, I mean, it's all oily, but I mean, check that out. It's like got fins cast into the bottom of it, which have some function for sure, but it just, I don't know, it's just really pretty. I mean, if a motorcycle engine can be pretty, I think this little thing is, and that, to me, that's just kind of an Italian thing, I mean, the Americans make some awesome stuff too. I'm not picking one over the other, but I don't know. It seems like they kind of wanted to slick everything up and make it look good no matter what it was. But yeah, there's no front suspension on this. I think it's just springs. I don't think there's any kind of like oil damper or anything in that. So it's like a mountain bike or something maybe, which, mountain bikes get more elaborate suspension than this now. But if you look at the headlight bucket up here, it's kind of cool. They put the speedometer into the back of the headlight, which I've seen that on other stuff, but it's kind of fun. Keeps it clean. There's nothing in the way here. And this had a seat on it, the stock seat. It was really long, like you could carry a passenger, which is wishful thinking, unless it was a stuffed animal or something. But yeah, it looked like a loaf of bread. It's stupid looking too. I'd put a solo seat on there, but yeah, this cool little toolbox that they've got. Kind of a throwback for sure. When get your own little toolkit in there, but yeah, it's just got some junk in there, some random spark plug and a foot peg that I think goes to this, but it's not missing one, so I don't know what that is there. Like I say, this was a guy had this, drove up and got it, threw it in the back of my van, and head on down the road. Now, if you're into motorcycles and you got a sharp eye, you might notice something that's kind of odd about this. Look at where the kicker is, right here. Look at the brake lever. And over on this side is the shifter. So that's backwards of most things. Kind of cool. Might take some getting used to. I know they're not the only ones that did that, but they chose to do it for some reason. I wonder if that was kind of a detriment for Sears when they're trying to sell it in the American market. If that wasn't super common, I think maybe old Sportsters are that way, but I'm not sure about that. I think they might have been right side shift in the beginning. Mine's not, but it's a 79 iron head, so that's a weird one too. We'll cover that one in a future episode. But yeah, well, I guess I take it back. There is a mount here for another peg. So they intended for you to be able to carry two people on this. Wow. I think the top speed of this was like 60 miles an hour. I got a couple things that's the top speed, but that must have been level ground with the tailwind, because 106 cc, that's with 60s technology, I think, and this is probably a pre-World War II design. I don't know how much power this had, like 17 horsepower or something silly like that. But like I said, it's still neat for me to look at. I think it's as beat as it is. It's still pretty cool to me. I think I could do something with it. And motorcycles are great. I got some decent motorcycles, and I got some projects too. They're great because they don't take up a lot of room, man. You can put 4 or 5 motorcycles in a space where an old project car would sit. So you can tend to hoard that stuff, and I do. But yeah, I think that's a Delorto carburetor. It's a pretty respectable name on that. It's almost everything on it's got made in Italy on it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Pirelli tires. They definitely kept it in house. So I think that's pretty cool too. In a global market, even then, they kind of kept it all within their country. But you can see here this headlight. I don't know if that headlight even came with it. It doesn't fit. It's just kind of hanging on there. But yeah, we come up with something for that. I'm not planning on a road trip for this anytime soon, but it's all there. I mean, I've got a little parts stash that I'll show you that I bought. It was like a lot on eBay. I don't mean like a large amount. I mean like, a bunch of different things, a lot, like an auction lot of Gilera 106 SS Sears parts. And I got a better headlight bucket, better speedo. I got some more exhaust stuff. I got an air cleaner, a lot of stuff that I'm missing now. And I think there's a few bits and pieces that you can either get from other resto shops or other Italian bikes, because I think they use some of the same things, maybe like the kick rubber and stuff like that. But again, I'm not going for authenticity with this thing. It'd be fun to hear it run, which I will tell you, I know this will run. I haven't messed with it, but this made me very happy. I don't have the best of luck with old engines sitting around. If you can hear that, yeah, it's not stuck, and there's probably no way I can do this two-handed. But if you put your finger over the plug hole, it's on the other side here, and kick that over, it's got strong compression. So I'm like, this will run. I'm sure that carburetor, the inside of that probably looks like the deck of the Titanic, but I think that's a pretty common unit that I can get pieces and parts for and get that going again. But the exhaust is pretty cool on this. Like, if you look at like Japanese bikes or something like that, they've got the little gaskets and the shark teeth and all that bolt in there, and those things always break and just cause you all kinds of grief. This is like fine thread pipe here, and there's a collar nut on the exhaust pipe itself that threads onto that. So it's got some, I don't know if you can see that or not. Got some raised areas on there where you can, probably supposed to use a special spanner or something, but channel locks work fine for me, don't they? It's kind of a bear to get it started, but I like that a lot better. It's, you can't see, it's got like a bell in here. It seals up against this, so pretty slick. I think that may be something that isn't as rare as I'm portraying it to be, but I like it. I mean, it seems pretty reliable, but yeah, some of this stuff's just kind of overkill. This oil dipstick here is like as big as the carburetor, but it's neat. I mean, yeah, I'm having to turn it like 77 times here to get it off of there, but there's like a strainer in there. Like I said, it doesn't have a dipstick in it, but yeah, I mean, that's a nice piece. It's when everything is plastic and rubber or whatever. I mean, it's fun to see stuff like that that had to take, that's a casting, and then they had all those secondary operations to thread that and drill those holes in it. I mean, it's some craftsmanship, I'll tell you. That's part of my fun with messing with this stuff, is kind of seeing how they used to do it, because as cheap as this thing was, I mean, it was like, I got an ad for, or found it online actually. It's like a catalog page for this. I mean, this was like $325 or something for this bike. Now, I know time value of money there. That's $325 and $67 is not the same as it is in 2022, but 2021. But still, that's not a lot of money for a motorcycle. So, seeing the quality of it, I guess, even it being cheap, it's impressive to me. But there she is. So. Yeah, I'll show you this stuff too. This was part of that parts lot that I got. I really just wanted the headlight bucket because that speedometer is really nice. But it came with a coil and part of the air cleaner here. There's like a lid or something that goes on there that fits on that back of that carburetor there, and junk filter. But at least I know what size it takes if I can't find the right one. Another coil, chain. Front part of the exhaust, brake rod is in there. I got speedometer cable that was in there, and I got a bunch of the cables too. Came with brake cables and or front brake cable and clutch cable and throttle cable, all in a box, and it was like $20 or something like that, which is probably about half what I paid for the whole motorcycle. But hey, where else are you going to get this stuff unless you just buy another bike? I mean, this is probably leftovers from somebody else's restoration project, and I'm happy to have them. Okay, as promised, we're going to crack into this thing and check it out. Now, I got the screws drilled out in this, but I have not taken the cover off. You got to believe me. I don't know what's behind there. I broke a couple. I thought I hated Phillips head screws or JF screws on Japanese bikes, but these are slotted screws. Man, that really stunk. But two of them turned right out. Two of them, I had to, show them who's boss here, and that resulted in their destruction. But it's ready to go here, so let's check it out. There's one. Shifter lever off here. Maybe. There we go. Got one at the bottom. Like I said, this may be something's home in there, so if the screen goes black, I'll have to catch up with you in a minute. Are we ready? Uh-oh. And it came loose too. I thought I had to pound on that, but she's coming out. Well, there was something in there. Get some nuts and some leaves and stuff in there. Save them for later, but evidently it's moved on, so I'm happy about that. Well, let me turn this around here so you can see a little bit better. I'm pretty pleased with that. That's not what I thought I would see. Quite a bit of crud, but I figured it would look like it had been submerged in water, but no. So this doesn't look too terrible. Broken leads or anything. I'm happy. Well, there you go. That's what the inside of one looks like, at least on that side. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna get this. We're gonna find out if this runs or not. That's my next project. I think I can get a go no go pretty quick. Like I said, this thing's got good compression. I get some spark out of here. I got the coil that's on it, and I got my spare. If they're both bad, I'm just unlucky, but I imagine that one of the two, if not both, work, and get me a spark plug for this, and get it to kick off of ether or something, because the carburetor probably needs some love. But I want to hear this thing run, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So check back. There'll be more to come on this one, promise. All right, there's another one in the can. Let me know what you think. Just throw me some comments, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff that we do for homework. Tell me what you think about the tank situation. So I get something completely different. Really don't want to put the stock tank on it. If I get that Sportster style tank on there, I'll just buy one. I don't want to tear up my original tank for my actual Harley. And if I put this one on it, I'm not even going to paint it. It's kind of funny. It must have been setting up. And sun bleached one side, and the other one came out pretty nice. So I'm not a big patina guy, but this is one I wouldn't touch. If I left it on the bike like that, I would leave it exactly like that. Now, I also kind of don't like trying to trick somebody, because somebody may say, oh, cool, that's an Indian, and it's not. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn, but I really like the shape of it. It's about the right size for this bike anyway. It doesn't need more than a couple shot glasses worth of fuel to run around with that tiny 106cc engine. But what do you think? I like to get feedback, you know. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but sometimes I find out a better idea from somebody else that's not invested in the project. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in again. We'll be back at Smith Motor Works once again with something new and different, because we got to dare to be different, right? Later.